Hi there, welcome to Cubicle Coder. I'm Marcin Kubica. Today a few words about feedback and psychological safety. Why the ability to give and receive feedback is a crucial prerequisite for psychological safety and why both are essential to the team's performance. Let's start with psychological safety. Of course, we all want to feel safe and a comfortable working environment should be safe. But why is it also efficient? Firstly, feeling insecure is inefficient. Let's look at Maslow's pyramid of needs. The bottom of the pyramid comprises the physiological needs. Safety is just above on the second level. If it's missing, all the levels above are cut off. We behave defensively and our main focus is how to be safe again. While in software development and in any other creative work, we need to tap into the creativity, which is on the very top of Maslow's pyramid. If you want to get to the top, we need to fulfill all the needs below in the pyramid. In other words, if you're scared, you're not creative, but get dumb. We share with animals the same three modes of defense: fight, flight, or freeze. You probably know them from your own experience. Fight. Last moment crunch to deliver something before the deadline, whatever the quality, and no matter how much you burn out. Flight. Avoid the source of stress. Keep yourself busy with anything else. Freeze. Being unable to act, just thinking about the situation over and over again. None of these is productive. That's why putting pressure on your people or making artificial deadlines is counterproductive, at least in the long run. Daniel Pink explains it much better in his excellent book, Drive. To motivate people, you should base on the three pillars: a sense of purpose, autonomy in how one does their work, and seeking mastery in what one does. But there is much more to psychological safety than just a lack of imminent danger. If your team develops software, there are high chances your team is doing something new, something innovative. This requires trying new things, experimenting, and making errors. If you want your people to try new things, they need to feel safe to fail. Here's my favorite test for checking if your team work is innovative. What product, a feature of your product, or module in the system you develop have you recently thrown away? Think carefully. If the answer is like, thrown away? Nothing. Why should we throw away anything? I'm sorry, but that means that your team is not innovative. You take only safe steps. There are no mistakes, which means you don't experiment. If you have to throw away something you have done, it's not a waste, it's a learning experience. As Thomas Edison has put it, I didn't fail, I just found 2,000 ways not to make a light bulb. I only need to find one way to make it work. To make progress quickly, you need to optimize for learning, and for this, you have to embrace making mistakes. As Mark Zuckerberg expressed it, unless you are breaking stuff, you are not moving fast enough. That's why your people need to feel safe to experiment, make mistakes, kill what is wrong, and do it better again. But psychological safety is also needed to glue your team together. In his excellent book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, Patrick Lencioni describes a pyramid of potential dysfunctions in teamwork, or things that are needed to boost the team's performance. Similarly to Maslow's pyramid, if your team has not mastered some level, all that is above is not available to them. If you haven't heard about it, I strongly recommend reading this book. It will open your eyes to how high the mountain you are climbing as a team's leader is. And guess what forms the foundation level of the pyramid? Psychological safety. If this all doesn't convince you about the importance of psychological safety to the team's performance, maybe the empirical research can convince you. In their famous Aristotle project, Google has observed 180 teams to identify what influences their performance most. By far, the most crucial factor boosting the team's performance is psychological safety. And this applies to various types of teams, not only development teams. Feedback is an effective way to communicate based on psychological safety. If you want to communicate something uncomfortable, you risk that the other person becomes defensive. And then, whatever your message is, it won't get through. The key is to communicate it so that the other person feels safe and your message has a chance to soak in. Feedback also works very well when passing positive, enforcing messages. It doesn't sound like just being polite and shows how valuable something is. The ability to give and receive feedback is a must-have skill for your team to perform well and maintain psychological safety. When people work together, some tension is unavoidable. People are different, behave differently, various things are acceptable for them, depend on each other, but are not consistently reliable. Simply, you need a way to resolve conflicts safely and help each other improve. And feedback is the right tool. There are several schemas for formulating feedback that share a common core, like situation, behavior, impact, facts, emotions, consequences, expectations, and the master level, non-violent communication. If this is a new topic to you, I strongly recommend taking some hands-on training, not only for you, but for the whole team. Let me shortly describe the facts, emotions, consequences, expectations schema. The message comprises of 4 parts. Facts. These are objectively observable facts about the situation you want to refer to. No judgment, no interpretation. The idea is that there should be nothing one can argue about or defend against. For example, today you came to the daily stand-up 5 minutes late. The team waited for you. Emotions. This is about what feelings the described situation triggers in you. Be careful not to judge or disguise opinion as a feeling. The idea is that one can hardly argue about your emotions. For example, when you are late for the meeting, I feel anxious and unimportant. Consequences. Describe what consequences in your opinion would the described behavior have if it continues. Again, don't judge. It's up to the other person how they will act. You only highlight the consequences of their choice. For example, if this continues, I will not care that much to be on time myself, and I'm afraid other team members won't care either. Our daily stand-ups will become unproductive and it will impact the daily work of the whole team. Expectations. This part is optional. Even if the other person commits, it's not always feasible to resolve the situation completely. You can help by describing what solution would be good enough for you. For example, when you cannot be on time for the daily stand-up, I think it would suffice if you let us all know about it before 9 a.m. Here are some tips on giving feedback. Feedback is a gift. You offer your perspective to help the other person improve. But it's up to that person what they will do with this gift. If your intentions are different, for example, you want to vent, it's your choice, but don't call it feedback. If you're determined to give feedback, but it's hard to cool down your own emotions, imagine that the other person had an important reason to act that way, which you are simply not aware of. For example, that person is late for the daily stand-up because just before it, they have a meeting with their boss, and it regularly spills over. If you want to give both positive and corrective feedback, give the positive first. But don't try to make up something positive to soften the other person. Feedback has to be authentic. Don't enter any dispute about the feedback. Let the other person absorb it, cool down the emotions, and get back to you later if needed. Once you start giving and receiving feedback regularly, you will see that corrective feedback has much more value than positive feedback. In this video, Elon Musk talks about the importance of actively seeking critical feedback. If feedback is a gift, it's a low-hanging fruit you can harvest if you actively seek it. It's not a tasty fruit, but a very nutrient one. Let me end this video with a practical exercise that fosters trust, psychological safety, and giving and receiving feedback in the team. It's the team effectiveness exercise from the 5 dysfunctions of a team, also known as a feedback dinner. Each member of the team prepares concise feedback for each other member of the team. Just 2 items. What is the one most important contribution of that person to the teamwork? What is the one most important thing that person should improve or eliminate for the team's benefit? The whole team meets at the table, and each person, starting from you and going around the table, receives feedback from all the others. By starting from you, you show that it's perfectly safe to give and receive negative feedback. It's a very intense experience and an excellent booster for the team's performance. Depending on the team size, it can easily take more than an hour. There are n times n-1 feedbacks if there are n people on the team. So, book enough time and make sure people don't chatter up. What to look for? When you receive feedback, look for repeating patterns. If something repeats, even if it doesn't resonate with you, there must be something in it. As a manager, look for people that hardly give any critical feedback. It's a sign that they don't feel a critique is safe. Let me know what you liked about this video and, more importantly, what you didn't like. Thanks for watching.